Greetings, it's your girl by Upcycle, and today is Tuesday, July 16, 2019, and this is hashtag Concernment. Concernment is about issues concerning women, and if you have been following me, I am reading the book called The Honor of Women in Islam by Yusuf de Costa. Yusuf de Costa started with chapter 1, speaking about the status of women in pre-Islamic Arabia. Chapter 2, which I am going to talk about today, is the status of women pre-Islam Christianity. So, to be fair, in what I had read, it seems like a lot of the cultures back in the beginning of time, or at least for pre-Islamic time, when we're talking about the book, and these movies that we watch about, the Christian Crusaders and, Arabia this and Christians that and Jews this and, Passion of Christ, yada, yada, yada. It seems like everybody had the same idea when it came to women. And that's the idea was that women was of lower class, sometimes not even considered human, sometimes even lower than slaves, depend on which culture you was a part of. And all of it stemmed from the story of Adam and Eve, and men, not people, men. Some have said that the women is actually the gateway for the devil. For me, that's like, because of the time I live in, and because of the value of me being a woman and the value of the women that we bring to society. We birth nations, we raise nations. That joint is a hard pill to swallow. And what I noticed in chapter 2 is that they had the same type of treatment as the women in chapter 1. So these Jewish women were subjected to prostitution. They were subjected to not being able to own property. They were subjected to, in chapter 2, it even says like they were actually beat. They were subjected to this, and it's still today, these are types of issues that we suffer in our homes, regardless of religion, regardless of race, regardless of culture. It is a common practice that we have to fight against. And the way we know it's a common practice is because we have programs like Weave. We have programs, we have women in office in Congress now, and it's a big deal. So if anybody wants to sit there and say, oh, the information you're giving out is wrong because you're a Muslim, blah, 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 like your statement and comment is falling on deaf ears, because the same treatment that our women went through hundreds and thousands of years ago is being seen in our news feed through Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram, through Snapchat, on our news at 5, 10, and 11 o'clock. So, but let's talk about some of the positive things that happened in Christianity, especially when Jesus came about. So, alayhi salam, when Jesus came about, there was 5 things that they covered. And it was that, 1, he ignored the ritual purity laws. There was a woman, she's not named, but there was a woman who had suffered from menstrual bleeding for 12 years. And it's in Mark chapter 5, verses 25 through 34. And it speaks of her touching his clothing and him actually speaking to her. And how during those times of Jesus, alayhi salam, that it was a custom that men did not talk to women on their menses, especially women that were not part of their family. And that's something that he had done. It doesn't say how long people practiced that afterwards, but that is something that he had done that was out of the norm. And so, high five, Jesus, being there for the women. Um, Another thing that they talked about is he talked to foreign women. This is in Matthew chapter 15, verses 21 to 28. He had spoken to foreign women, especially to this one woman, she wasn't named, where she came to him saying that her daughter was possessed by demons. And so he cured her. And she was not a Jew, she was not of their people. And so that was another common practice that he stepped outside the box on. Yay, Jesus. Peace be upon him. The third thing that they talked about was he taught women students. So not only did he teach men, he also taught women. And that's in Luke chapter 10, verses 38 through 42. Another thing he did was he spoke about men and women being equal when he used the term all. So that put everybody on the same platform. And you can find that statement in Luke chapter 35, chapter 7, verse 35. That's Luke chapter 7, verse 35. And the last thing they talked about was he accepted women in his inner circle. And there it's Martha and Mary that they're talking about. And that's Luke chapter 8, verses 1 through 3. I'm sorry, I paused because I'm like, wait a minute, was that the... I read it. I read it. And because I read it, I am making sure to do my homework before sharing this information with you guys. And I gave you the chapters and the verses so you can go read it for yourself. Even if you don't own a Bible, I own a Bible, so I have a Bible. And I also use the internet to double check. Of course, some of the wordings is different. That's neither here or there, but they all have the same story given. And so I strongly encourage anybody who's watching this video to do the research on your own. Don't just take my word. I am following a book, sharing what the book is saying. I find the book to be of use, of value, and it opens the doors for other questions and it opens the doors for other research. And so, you know, more importantly, this is not a debate about what women had, what women didn't have, because we know in all societies, whether pre-21st century, whether first century, or whether today, we know that in all societies, women have ran into hardship of inequality. And we also know that your income status, based on your income status, determines the more filth that you go through as a woman. So we know women who are of upper class usually don't go through as much. They have some, but it's not as dominant as women of middle class, and even worse as women of lower class, right? If we went outside today and you seen a mother walking down the street with her children and they're laughing and they're going on their way, and it's like, oh, look at the family, you know, look at her. And then you see a homeless woman walking down the street, waving her arms, talking crazy. It's like, oh, poor thing, but I might give her $1, but stay over there. I don't want that over here. It's still happening in this day, and we have to get better. We have to get better. We have to be knowledgeable about the stuff that we believe in. We have to share those knowledge. We have to get better. We have to stop trying to be better than the other person and be a better part of ourselves so that we can share that and the world can be better by the grace of God. All right, you guys, I'm almost at 10 minutes and you know the drill. Until next time, peace.